welcome to Prepare Like a Pro live chats. My name's Jack McLean. I created Prepare Like a Pro early in the year. We are a strength and conditioning business based in Melbourne, and we are working with athletes all around the country. We specialise in athlete development for football, and we're working with male and female footballers. So if you're interested in working with us one-on-one, head over to our website, preparelikeapro.com, and you can check out our training packages, online programs, as well as face-to-face training. I'm excited to announce I'll be catching up with the Footy Yarn, which are hosted by Sebastian Clark and Hayden Narducci. I'm going to invite, g'day Oscar, Sebastian and Hayden now. There we go, sending our request. So the Footy by Sebastian and Hayden, who are Western Australian best young journalists talking footy. They're available on Instagram, but you can also check out their podcast. So really looking forward to this chat. They've interviewed plenty of guys online. I thought I'd return the favour and interview them. Really interested to hear about what they're doing at Footy Yarn, as well as why they started and a little bit about their story. So feel free to send us questions, guys, either to myself or Sebastian or Hayden, and we'll get cracking in the chat. And then once they jump on, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. Got there.
How are you, mate?
Go on, well, boys. Yourself?
Sorry, mate. How are you?
No problem at all. No problem at all. Go on, mate. Yourself? So which one's Hayden? Which one's Sebastian?
Sebastian's me. Hayden's here.
What's on, guys?
Much at all. Very busy at the moment, but it's been a good busy.
Been pumping out some awesome content.
Absolutely. Working with a lot of this year's draftees. It's only a bit over a week before they get their fate, so it's obviously very exciting for them. Very exciting for us as well as parents, I guess we like to call ourselves too.
Yeah. A few of them calling you dads?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're just there, proud dads, always.
Proud dads, that's awesome. A few of them, you've got some good relations with some of them clearly, because some of the questions that came through, I reckon they're a bit of tongue-in-cheek.
It's just up our day.
all good fun though, all G-rated.
Yeah, it's blokes like Denver I went to school with, so I grew up with quite a while, and he's looking to go in the top 5, so it's very exciting for him, both as a friend and through a professional, connection, I guess you could call it.
Oh, we'll get cracking into it, guys. So Take us back to the beginning. I assume you guys are mates.
Yeah. Well,
how did you create it?
Funny you say that. We weren't really mates when it first started off. I started on my own with another mate. It was more just sort of lax. I went with another mate of mine who wasn't really into the media side of things, but I still sort of dragged him into it. Got halfway through the year before I met Hayden, and then we were sort of just circulating mates through as guests, I guess you could say.
Trial period?
Yeah, a bit of a trial period. Probably a good way to say it.
Hayden won.
And I met Hayden and had him on as a guest, and he probably doesn't know, but it was sort of more of I guess I was seeing how much he'd be into it, and he seemed to really crack onto it early on, and I thought, geez, I might have to ask him if he wants to join full time, and you were pretty keen on it.
Yeah, we literally met once before I'd come on.
Oh, right. Wow.
It was just like some of my mates from footy who he went to school with. And
me, like, oh, you got to meet Hayden, you two are going to get along well. And I thought, I've got to meet this bloke sometime. Yeah, met him once and seemed like the type of bloke I'd get along with. So, yeah, it went blossom from there, I guess.
Yeah, I remember the first episode that I went to host, we actually had Seb's stepdad as our guest.
Really had the big guest rolling too early.
And then the next week, we sort of realised if we just flood out messages, we can probably get some blokes on. So we had, like, Sam Sturt, Will Schofield, Cam McCarthy, and then awesome. Just players from there.
But, it was very up for us, and we sort of took it more seriously this year and realised what we'd be good for and had some better ideas, such as working with a lot of the draftees, which is blossomed, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and when did you start? When was this?
Started this year. I guess it was an idea Hayden had to sort of had training sessions with these blokes because they're all sort of our age, and we'd sort of thought publicise the sort of difference between just amateur footy players like me and Hayden to the sort of elite standard of the kids that are getting drafted and whatnot. I wouldn't even say we're amateur, below amateur. Let's go deeper.
Yeah, sub-amateur.
That's awesome, guys.
Yeah, it's blossomed from there.
Yeah, fantastic. And what is the vision with Footy Yarn? Where do you guys want to take it?
Oh, I'd say we've sort of got, in terms of the content we're doing, we've got to where we want to be. Obviously do it more consistently, get more guests on, that sort of thing. But just keep doing this. A lot of the stuff for the draft is sort of just giving them exposure before that, month or two before the draft where everyone's talking about them, and it's all just media stuff rather than with us it can just be them being themselves, them being blokes. We sort of figure that's got a bit of an expiry date on it before it gets to a point we're significantly older than them, and it's that connection isn't obviously as close as it is now because obviously they're only a year younger than us. So just
You understand their world. Yeah.
keep doing this for a few years and see where it does take us.
Fantastic. What would be a typical week? What are you doing? Are you doing a couple of talks a week? Are you doing a nightly?
Yeah. This month we've done a podcast with each of them, which was done up until the 24th, I think it was. And we did it so about 6 blokes would come in and then we would book a studio for, say, 3 hours. And then we would filtering in every 20 minutes. So one would come in, talk to them for 20 minutes, bang, they're gone, take a photo. Next one comes in. So it'd be filtering through. And so I guess that was the best way of doing it efficiently and still giving them the time of day, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. That's awesome. And you guys have, interviewed some highly talented players. Are there things that you've learnt from these guys or things that you've picked up, whether it be similar traits, or what are some tendencies that you've seen with these talented footballers that you guys have learnt from them?
I mean, some of them obviously had a lot more experience in media than us. You look back, our first episode with Sam Sturt, it was probably one of the first pieces of media he'd done. And we were also shitting ourselves because there was an AFL player coming into our studio to talk to us. So that was like, you listen back to it and that was an awful episode, like knowing what we do now. And then the next Schofield, and he was so good with it just because he had done so much media over the past 10, 15 years. So he, obviously just that episode alone, he carried that episode so much. But like, you just learn from the blokes who have done a lot more media than you have and sort of just from your experiences doing the media stuff as well. Yeah,
for sure. And how do you guys go about it? Is it rehearsed? Is it very well planned? Is it more organic and you just sort of go with the flow? What sort of your vibe?
A lot of it was we had a script for each, like anyone does. We have a script of where to go. That's obviously been rehashed this year, and it'll make some changes next year. It progresses, you make changes, you see what works, what doesn't, and you go from there. So, no, we're really looking forward to 2021 and what the podcast holds for then. But, yeah, a lot of it is organic, but a lot of it you have a script in front of you to help you keep progressing through the episode nicely.
Yeah, for sure. And how do you guys go about finding your guests? Do they come to you now? Do you?
Not obvious. Great question. Do they come to us? No, at the start it was sort of bulk messages sent out, get in contact with it however we could. And then got to a point where we sort of built connections with guys that were able to say, oh, do you want to have a chat with this bloke? And we'd go, yeah, absolutely. Like, I think Jake Waterman was a perfect example. We had him in for our grand final episode last year. And so we've done that. He's gone out of the studio and come back, computers crash, episode's not saved. It's shut itself. So we thought, really just re-record an episode with Jake. It wouldn't be natural. Hey, boys, I've got Oscar Allen. Do you want to have a chat with him? And so
awesome
for us. So, yeah, it's a bit of both. We've sort of built up a little bit more now that we have a few blokes that can help us out and relationships and whatnot. So that's obviously helpful as well. But then when it comes to it, we've got managers and whatnot that we've made connections with that might be able to help us out too with getting blokes on.
Right. Player managers?
Yeah, that is, yeah.
And do you guys rewatch them?
Yeah, I
or re-listen,
and then we're rewatching stuff like our IGTVs. I do sometimes. Hayden might.
Never have.
I'm the same. I find it hard.
Things I do bad, and I'm like, why'd I say that? Why'd I do that? The road to the draft, and I'd say about 50% of the podcast I'd listen to if I felt like I really enjoyed the recording, and otherwise I listen back to it and I'm like, I just feel like an idiot listening to myself.
Yeah. And what do you guys, like for those that aren't following you guys that might have been tuning in, how do you explain to a stranger about what you guys do?
It is pretty tough. I find it a little bit tough because it might be someone who's about 50 and they don't really understand podcasting. They don't understand YouTube even still a little bit. But they see us working with some AFL players and they think, oh, wow.
You're getting some love there from Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate that. Gemma and doing a very good show. We love them. But no, it's very much appreciative when we have people ask us about it, and we sort of explain it in a way that, we're just trying to bring light to some of the young footballers that might not get the, I guess, like, sort of, you don't hear about third or fourth round pick chances that much, but we try to light to those boys that don't get as much limelight as the top 10 or top 20 or first rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, let's see what these questions are that you guys have come through. So, first one's from Liam McCann. Have you interviewed Liam?
Yes. Yeah, Liam's a good boy.
So he wants to know, why is Liam McCann your favourite person to interview?
Very good question.
The truth to that question, I'm not sure if they're into it. Obviously, as Seb said, we like to think of ourselves as parents, and parents don't play favourites.
We don't have favourites.
Well played.
Favourites, Liam.
Thank you, though, Liam. We do love you.
Love it. We'll get into, what about VJ Jaden?
JJ.
He's one of
yeah,
the,
no, we do.
constant-
Appreciate. Jeez, if you had to stop supporting your footy teams, Waffle and AFL, I'm a West
Who-
Perth man. If I had to stop supporting them, probably got to Peel. I've always liked Peel. They've got a relationship to Port Adelaide, and if I had to stop supporting Port Adelaide, I'd probably move over to the Dockers. I'm just being a WA fan, yeah.
I'd have to say for the Waffle, probably Subi, because
okay.
Angus Litherland, who we had on last year, probably one of the, obviously all the ones you get in the Waffle are really nice and help you out a lot. But I remember he invited us to the last game, and then Seb couldn't make it. He came down for a little bit at the end. But then I was up there at the end of the game with him, his mum, and the rest of the Subi players.
His mum's lovely, by the way.
And they were just handing out jugs of beer for everyone, and Gussie was just
Yeah,
going,
I've forgotten that. I might have to change as well. Subi for me
yeah,
too.
he was just going, dig in, boys. And I was like, jeez, don't mind
They
us.
brought you in.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Family club, hey?
Oh,
Where did we get?
probably the Suns
Go the Suns.
or
yeah.
GWS.
GWS.
I just like the big sound.
Yeah, okay.
What about Kane? Have you had Kane in?
Is that Kane Baldwin?
Yes.
Oh, mate, this is a great question. Wondering how they maintain respectful relationships with competitors like King LJ.
I wouldn't say
They're
LJ's
not competitors.
I wouldn't say LJ's a competitor.
No.
I'd say he's more of an idol. of
He is an
ours.
idol. He's
We
in a league
definitely
of his
look up
own.
to LJ.
We couldn't even tie the man's shoes. He's that great. But no, LJ's a great bloke. He's doing great stuff as well.
I'm actually not familiar with LJ. So is he a similar, is it a footy podcast?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah, he's a much younger lad. I think he's turned 12. I saw he was watching for a little bit. He's in SA, 12-year-old, and he does bulk stuff, cricket, footy, does other sports as well. There he is, LJ.
There he is, LJ.
He does so much content. It's ridiculous. All straight to YouTube, these interviews. Gets all nice and suited up for him. So he's a lot more professional than we are, and I'd say a lot more experienced in the interviewing game than we are as well.
Yeah, LJ's a great man.
Very well. Answered there, boys. Awesome. When we got Devoid.
Davo, don't bring
Davo.
No, I've stopped now. Where I get my tips from, it's from my own brain, but they don't usually come in, so straight away.
I can attest they are junk. I'm not one to bet on the horses or any of the dogs or anything. And I asked Seb last night, so I was at the pub, I was like, got any tips? And he said, this one can't lose.
It almost didn't.
With full confidence. Love it.
Yeah, junk punts.
Devoid's loving it. Classic. All right, last one here. Oh, no, that was the last one.
What was the last one?
Yes.
Lovely.
If anyone's watching, you want to send through Seb and Hayden a question, feel free to post away using that question button at the bottom of the screen. But tell us about 2021, guys. What have you guys got in store? Have you planned that far ahead, or are you more focusing about a month ahead?
Yeah, we had a meeting, same meeting, we just sat down, had a bunch of ideas of what we wanted to do a couple of days ago, and I've been sorting out the list of 2021 draftees, just started following a bunch of the ones we want to do content with, message some of them that we want to do content with. So 2021, it's probably going to be the same thing, but obviously a lot more organised, which would be a lot better, because this year it was sort of, especially with the interstate draftees, when the virus happened, we just thought we can do that. But then there was no set plan. We just did it week by week, sort of, until the end and it's worked out pretty well. So hopefully we can do that for more next year, aiming for about 100 odd boys over the course of next year across the country, do road to the draft stuff consistently, more podcasts, which we couldn't quite do because of the virus this year. Hopefully the W podcast as well early on in the year, depending how the fixtures come out.
Yeah, fantastic. That's awesome. Well, yeah, you've created a lot of momentum in a year that's tough to do that in terms of continuity and with all the constraints that COVID's brought. So, well done, boys. I thought it was pretty spontaneous by me, but I just thought, bugger it, I'll return the favour and interview you guys.
Yeah, no, but we really appreciate it. And to Mitch Evans' question, we'll have a top 10 mock draft coming out soon, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so stick around for that. But no, I really appreciate your time, mate. And yeah, no, it's been great.
Awesome. I'll keep following you, boys. Love your work, mate. And keep it up. Thanks for joining us as well. We'll speak soon.
Take it easy.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, fellas.